Hello, and welcome to Rallying for Rail. Another excuse I hear for Amtrak not having a great system with high ridership is this thing called car culture in the United States, a term used to describe the fact that so much of America and American public policies have an affinity for and give priority to cars. And yes, America has an affinity for cars overall. 91.7% of Americans own at least one car, according to Forbes. But some populations are less likely to own a car than other populations. And one such population that is less likely to own a car than most of the rest of the country is college students. I've seen various statistics when it comes to car ownership in college students. I've seen statistics ranging from saying that 35% of students own cars to as much as 70%. But even at the end of the data spectrum that claims a higher level of car ownership, it still shows that college students, on average, are relying on their own car significantly less than the average American. Because college students are significantly less likely to own cars than the average American, they're therefore probably significantly more likely to take Amtrak than the average American if reliable Amtrak service were provided to that population. What this means is that I think it should be a high priority to expand passenger rail, whether it be through Amtrak or other means, to towns and cities that do have large college campuses yet don't have a train station. And I should emphasize train station, for I do not think that Amtrak buses, or any buses, are adequate for meeting the needs of events that require the movement of thousands of people to or from a college campus in a short period of time, such as holiday breaks and major athletic events. They don't have the sort of passenger capacity that trains have, and at the same time, they get stuck behind the same traffic that cars do. Because I think it should be made a high priority to expand services to areas with large college campuses, I'm also going to make it a high priority to talk on this channel about how to expand passenger rail to areas with large college campuses. And in the spirit of making this issue a high priority, I'm going to start a new series on this channel, where we will talk about ideas for how to bring passenger rail of some form, whether it be through Amtrak or something else, to large college campuses that currently don't have Amtrak. I don't have a well-formed title for this series yet. Maybe something like Rallying for Collegiate Rail? As for the criteria for being a school that I talk about in this series, first, they need to be a large school. In other words, having 10,000 undergraduate students or more. The larger the school, the larger the possible demand. Second, they can't be exclusively, or almost exclusively, a commuter or online school. So even though Southern New Hampshire University has way more than 10,000 undergraduate students, their in-person enrollment is so small they wouldn't be eligible. On the other hand, Arizona State, which also has a large online campus, also has a large in-person campus, so they would be eligible under the enrollment criteria. Third, they can't have a single Amtrak train stop in the town the college is in. An Amtrak bus isn't enough. While I believe many towns with large colleges have Amtrak train service but don't have enough of it, we need to have standards. Because if we don't, we're going to be talking about every single college with over 10,000 students in the United States. Fourth, they aren't in the Amtrak Connects plan to bring Amtrak to more cities. So even though Las Vegas, Nevada, the home of the University of Nevada at Las Vegas, is eligible under the first three criteria, they can't be eligible for coverage under this criteria because bringing service to Las Vegas is in the Amtrak Connects plan. Fifth, they don't have other rail transit connecting their campus to an Amtrak stop. This, admittedly, is a little subjective. But to give an example of how I will use my subjectivity, let's take Montclair State University in Montclair, New Jersey, for example. They aren't eligible anyway, because Montclair would get a stop if the Amtrak Connects plan came through, thanks to a New York City to Scranton line the plan proposed. But even if they didn't, I still wouldn't cover them, because Montclair State University has its own stop on the New Jersey Transit commuter rail system, which does connect to Amtrak. And, based on the timetables I've read, it appears that the Montclair State University stop on New Jersey Transit gets frequent service. So sorry to any of the Montclair State people who happen to be watching my channel, I'm not going to talk about your university here, or at least not in the context of this series. Sixth, there are not current or recent plans to adequately connect transit from the college campus in question to an Amtrak stop. For example, there were recent plans to connect Chapel Hill, North Carolina to Durham, North Carolina, including its Amtrak station in Durham, by way of light rail. The plans fell apart, though, but since there were recent plans, it makes more sense for me to do a video on those plans than for me to reinvent the wheel. Also, if I get to the end of this series, I'm sure I will miss some schools. And if I miss your school, I promise you that it is not due to any hard feelings against your school. This is a long set of criteria, but my hope is that this criteria is strict enough that I don't have any uninteresting videos in this series, but also not so strict that we end up with few videos. And if I find midway through that my series is not striking that balance, my rules are subject to change. My guess, though, is that my criteria is in between enough that we will get balance. I'm guessing that because I've already thought of a few schools that will likely fit the criteria. Penn State and State College, Pennsylvania, the University of West Virginia in Morgantown, West Virginia, Kansas State University in Manhattan, Kansas, and the University of Florida in Gainesville, Florida, just to name a few. I look forward to this series, and I look forward to imagining how we can improve passenger rail transit to major universities in the United States. If you have any thoughts on this video, please leave a comment. Also, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and have a good day.